Hi, I'm Charlotte and I am a marketing student at BCU. So I got diagnosed with dyslexia when I was still in primary school. I think I was around 10 years old. And the three biggest things that I noticed and my parents noticed before I got diagnosed was that I struggled to read large bits of text. I was watching all my friends read these really big books and I was still on really small books with really large text. The second thing was that I struggled to concentrate and write large bits of work. And then the third thing was that my spelling was really bad. And to be honest, it's not any better today. So those are the three biggest things that I noticed. And then when I went to sixth form to do my A-levels, I got tested again and I got extra time on my exams, which really helped me in that instance. So in terms of tips for helping you do coursework, revision, exams, anything like that. So firstly, if you're having to read a lot, like if you're reading an article or something that's, quite a few pages, it can be really straining on the eyes and my mind. So I like to break it up into chunks, and then I also never just read it. You have to read and then make some notes on it as well, because otherwise it just goes in one ear and then out the other, and yeah, I'll just never remember it that way. Also use as many colours as you can, highlighting it. That really helps me as well, so I can visualise what's actually on the page. Secondly, if I'm reading something and it's on a Word document, I personally like to change the colour of the Word document to black and then change the text to white, so it's sort of reversed. And that just helps me read it a lot better. You can get software for overlays, which I know a lot of dyslexic people use as well. I used to personally use a green overlay, which used to help me. But I'll tell you at the end of software you can use to put overlays on pieces of text on your laptop or on your phone. The third thing that I would do is get a revision timetable or a coursework timetable and actually stick to it. So you can actually see mine there. I just need to be organised, because what you want to do is avoid feeling stressed and anxious about having a lot of reading or writing to do. You want to avoid that at all costs. So if you just get a little bit done every day, work towards it, you'll avoid feeling horrible, towards the end when it comes to deadlines. You don't want to feel that way at all. The first thing that I would do is proofread your work before you submit it. Get somebody else to read your work before you submit it. Use things like spell check or Grammarly on your laptop. Just anything you can to prevent any spelling mistakes. It definitely helps to have somebody else read it because you might have spelled a word right, but it might be the wrong word, and spell check isn't going to pick that up. So that's something to remember. Before you actually start writing your coursework, I would, again, when you're reading something, take notes and highlight. Lots of different colours is the best thing for me. Also, I'm not a huge fan of silence when I'm doing coursework or, something a bit creative that's not just dedicated essay writing, but I can't listen to any music that's got words in because I will hum or sing along in my head. So I have to listen to something without words, like classical music, or you can find study playlists, which, are just piano or it's no one singing. So I really find that helps occupy my mind, so it's not so silent when I'm trying to do work, and that makes me get distracted. If you're doing research on a topic or you're struggling to understand a theory or concept, I would definitely recommend watching some videos or documentaries on it, and that will just give you a starting point, and then you can go off and do your reading and, reference that on your work. But visual things, again, are so much easier to understand than large bits of text for me. So utilising any documentaries or videos is something that is just really helpful. Another thing, similar to doing your notes before the lectures, I would definitely start your assignments as early as possible. This will not only give you a chance to speak to your tutors as early as possible, and hopefully give you multiple chances to speak to them throughout when you're doing your assessments. It will also just help you feel a lot more prepared. You have a lot more time to do your work. And again, you just don't want to feel anxious when you get to that deadline day. So starting as early as possible is the best possible thing that you can do. In terms of revision methods, one of the big things that helped me during my A-levels was cue cards. I always like to say things out loud because that just helps me remember them instead of just reading it, because it just, like I said, it goes completely over my head. So practicing with your friends and family, that really helps as well. Yeah, just saying things out loud is the best thing to do for me. Also with cue cards, you're putting things in concise bits of writing. You know, you're not having to remember really large bits of text, which to be honest, I don't know who can do that anyway. So making sure your notes are concise, they're visual, you're using colours of different cue cards to categorise, you know, topics or subjects. That really helps as well because you associate that colour with the topic and then you remember what's on the cue card. The second thing is having multiple methods of revision. For example, I like to make posters. I like to do like visual or creative things, and that helps remember them. So, you know, putting pictures next to keywords, that's something that I find really helpful. And then, like I said, I do the cue cards. I also do past papers because, you know, you have to be realistic about it. If you're doing exams, you have to know what you're writing. But like I said before, you're trying to avoid feeling stressed and anxious on the day or on the deadline. So doing things like that beforehand are just really helpful. Another thing that I would do is when you come to university, a lot of your lecture notes will be put on a site called Moodle where you can see all of them before or after the lesson. So personally, what I like to do, I like to look at the notes before the lesson, do all of the notes, so, you know, write everything that's on the PowerPoint, and then within the lesson you're actually able to concentrate and take in what your tutor's saying instead of panicking and writing all the notes down within the 1 or 2 hours that you have. So that's another thing that I would do, just be prepared before your lessons. If you think that you might have dyslexia, there are a number of things you can do before coming to university. So you can speak to the student support advisors or the disability team, and they'll be able to screen you to do a test to see if you have dyslexia. And this can lead to things like, you know, extra time on your exams or special exam arrangements. You get extra time on your coursework, and you might have extra support from your tutors. So you've really got nothing to lose by speaking to the disability team to see if they can help you out during your university journey. In terms of apps that will help you with dyslexia in university, or, you know, whenever you're doing your exams, like I said, Grammarly is really helpful. It basically brings up any spelling or grammar mistakes that spell check not always brings up. It's a lot more advanced, and you can download that onto your laptop and use it on things like Word when you're writing out coursework or essays. Secondly, there is a platform called Colourveil, which, like I mentioned before, is an overlay software where you can, you know, put different colours over your reading, and then that will help you read it a bit better. And you can also choose from like so many different colours on it, and you can also change the opacity, which a lot of softwares don't allow you to do. A bit of final advice, like I said, speak to the support team at uni. They are more than willing to help you out. Also, there is a neurodivergent society at BCU, so if you want to speak to people who, you know, understand your situation, or you want to ask them any questions, they'll be really open to, you know, inviting you in and answering any questions that you possibly have. I really hope that this video helps, and good luck. Bye!